Farm4Profit podcast. Take a listen, have a blast. Farm4Profit podcast. Learn about farming while having a laugh. Farm4Profit podcast.
Hey, listeners, welcome back to the Farm4Profit podcast. This is Tanner.
David's here.
I'm here, Corey.
Oh, I'm
The tripod.
Yeah,
the
there we
third
go.
leg of hosts.
Yeah,
We're back. We're back again.
and we're back.
This
Is
is
this a
our
fun show, or
this
is
is going to be our fun summary show. We asked a really hard question over the last 6 months, and now we're going to try and have a little bit of fun. We'll get to introducing our guest here in a little bit and go about that. But listeners, thank you for spending 2024 with us. The last couple of shows of this year are going to be us talking about you, with you, and helping motivate you for a rocket 2025. Remember, if you've got ideas for next year's shows, farm4profitllc@gmail.com. You can reach out, leave comments anywhere on social media. As you know, next episode, we go over a lot of those comments as well. What'd you just do there, Corey?
I don't know. I got this varsity jacket on that Dave got me from shop.deer.com.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's my style, Dave.
Oh.
It's the JD Letterman's jacket.
Yeah, but
You don't have any pins. You know, like when I graduated, you had to pin for if you lettered in this sport and that sport, and you had a grade point average.
You like every piece of equipment you drive down your arm.
Oh.
Combine, tractor,
my
sprayer.
jacket was that one right over there. It is my jacket.
Yeah.
With FFA, and got a bunch of pins dangling off
I
of it.
like that. That would be like the 9520, and then when you got pissed off this week because you had to send it down the road, you could just rip it off.
Yeah.
Be like, nope, not part of the farm right now.
Nope, it isn't. We'll see what happens. I don't know what's wrong with it yet.
Yeah, we'll get the listeners an update there.
It's your style. All the girls are going to comment on this one.
It's my style. It's cold in here, so it does fit me. For
You'll
that
get a
today.
date to the prom that way.
Yeah.
Mike. I can't even say who our guest is.
You
yet,
can't.
sorry.
Well,
he ain't the prettiest guy, but he can cook and he can clean and he'll do. Is that what it is?
That's right. Yeah. At least I got a at least I got a good heart and
Sometimes you wake up,
a fat bottom.
you say you got a fat ass and a good heart, and that's got to count for something.
I don't know what we're going to do with this show. You guys have already ruined it.
I didn't write an intro, so am I just winging this thing?
I forgot we needed an intro, so I didn't have music queued up.
Or we
yet.
just get going and I can do it afterwards?
What do you guys want to say to the listeners before we get started? You got anything you want to say?
Thank you for, like Tanner said, prosperous 2024. We're heading into some dark times in agriculture, it feels like. But hopefully we can be a little shining light in your day.
Don't the days start getting longer next week?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something to look forward
It
to.
is. It sucks when it gets dark at 4:45.
It is.
Like,
But the-
I'm just ready for bed.
But the one thing we can all say is we got family. And
Yes, we
whether you have true family or you've got us as your family, and that's what we're going to talk about today is how you can kind of balance that out in your life. So, Corey, do you think you can wing an intro
Sure.
with the man, the myth, the legend?
The
Sure.
legend.
Answer this question honestly. Have you built the type of operation and lifestyle that you would actually want your kids to come back to? Now, for a lot of you, if you are being honest with this question here, the answer is going to be no, right? And I don't say that based off of zero data. We've had hundreds of family farm operations come into Legacy Farmer over the years looking to solve this problem because they've spent their lifetime building out this operation. They want to carry on the legacy into the next generation, but it's created such a chaotic lifestyle that they're not sure how to get things structured and organized so that they're passing on something that isn't just debt and disorganization to the next generation, but something that's organized, structured, and ultimately profitable as well. Now, we've seen this time and time again working with hundreds of family farm operations over the past 5 years inside of Legacy Farmer. And this is a big problem that people are trying to solve. And this is one that we have built out a proven process working with those families to take them from a place of chaos and disorganization financially to a place of confidence and clarity, which is only going to help them in every area of life and ultimately build the operation and the lifestyle that they would be proud to have their kids come back to. If you want to learn more about that process and you're struggling with these problems and you want to get them solved, go to legacyfarmer.com and sign up for a free call with our team today.
You got me music.
I'll get you music.
Dave could beatbox.
You yelled at me last time for being too loud.
Well, yeah, it washes everything out because we don't have these
did.
on. We've started doing some without these on, and it's nicer, but you can't hear the music. Today on the Farm for Fun show, It is 2024 still, but we are ringing in the new year. It's going to be an amazing 2025, and we're here to help you. We've got what Tanner calls the grandfather of Farm Talk.
You put it on me?
And
you went from father to grandfather and made it my fault.
Well, you just said this last week and said he was the father, but everyone just keeps getting older, so now you're the dad, and he's the grandfather. I'm the daddy.
Of TikTok.
But where are we going to go with that? Because if TikTok gets banned, what's he going to be the grandfather of? Instagram? Anyway, this guy is a retired farmer from Indiana, has provided us with so much great content and wisdom, and we're appreciative, and that's why he's here for this show. Please welcome Mr. Mike Burkhart.
Yeah.
Woo! Thank you. Appreciate that.
I should say past guest. Been on the show.
And I still want to keep the father
three
thing
times.
in place.
Yeah.
You want to stay
I'm
father?
not ready for the grandfather part yet.
At least you're not the great grandfather yet, right?
So what does happen if TikTok gets banned?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
It's
Everybody just
not
transitions.
happening, boys. It's
Threads.
not.
Really? You don't
No.
think so? Even though the Supreme
No.
Court upheld and now
No,
Not at
it
all.
was too big a tool in this election, and they're not. It may go by away one day, and I think it'll be right back on the 20th.
Yes. Okay. So if it doesn't go away, what are the channels? Do you think someone buys it? Do you think Elon buys it?
Somebody's gonna buy it here in the United States.
What was the one that X started, or used to be X had started, that was like TikTok before TikTok?
You talking about
Vine?
Vine. So I think Elon bought X so he could restart Vine when TikTok goes out of business.
Mine was great.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be disappointed in that.
So if he starts a Vine or TikTok 2 US version,
And it has been weird that Twitter X has not really come out with it. Every other platform has some sort of
side,
short
yeah,
videos.
outlot.
And they have videos, and you can scroll, but it is not like anything else. So that'll be interesting. Something to watch early. What is it, January 19th?
Yeah.
yeah.
We will see. So
Well,
what are
Mike,
we doing on today's
Mike,
show?
it's been a hot minute since you've been on this podcast. Some of our new listeners may not know who the father of TikTok is. Why don't you give a little bit of your background, a quick overview of your story?
Okay. On TikTok, I'm farming TBI dad _TBI dad, and I'm from Southwest Indiana, the real I-state. Just gonna put that out there.
This year, I would say probably, yeah. Better yields than us.
But anyway, farmed in that area my entire life, and had a situation where my father passed away at a young age, and my brother and I took it over from there. We raised hogs. We had cattle for a while. We raised food grade white corn. We just did whatever we could do to make money. And then in 2019 was our last crop, and we ended up having our farm equipment sale in 2021. Got 4 great kids. Along that way, one of those kids had a serious car accident, and that's where the TBI part comes from in TBI dad. That's traumatic brain injury. So that has kind of written the story of our family and where we've come from and how we got there. So, but really satisfied with where we're at. But I think it was God's way of kind of all the things that happened from 2008 to 2019 that kind of forced us into the situation of, all right, I got someplace else I want you to be. So I want you to focus all your efforts on Travis Burkhart Foundation. So that's kind of where we're at.
TBF.
That's
and
Yep.
that's great.
TBI dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to learn more in depth on Travis's story, we did a show back in 21.
Yeah.
Yep.
21
March of
probably.
21.
We did a fundraiser and raised quite a bit of funds for TBF, and go back and listen to that because it is a inspiring story. And Travis is still with us here today and
He's
thriving.
just outside the studio.
Thriving. I went out and gave him a fist bump. He was shopping for some pretty fancy shoes, and
yeah, he likes to shop.
I made sure to told him to get the expensive ones.
Yeah. So you guys started all that madness with the
I figured
with
so.
the auction. So and it's grown so much since then.
Yeah.
It's gotten completely quite the ride, and we're going to ride that pony as long as we possibly can, and as long as me and Mom are able, why we're going to run with it.
Yep. And while we're here, give a shout out for what TBF does, because it's a lot of people might think Travis Burkhart Foundation is for Travis Burkhart. It's not.
No, it's not for Travis. Well, what Well, it started out was whenever Travis had his accident, we was blessed a lot. So we decided that after the dust had settled, in 2009, we started Travis Burkhart Foundation. And what we do is we start where insurance stops. And what that means is that it could be anything from an iPad for maybe an autistic child. It could be maybe a hotel stay. Maybe it's medical equipment. Maybe it's your deductible. We do a whole realm of things. And this summer, we surpassed $500,000.
Wow.
We've helped families over 2,000 times. And it has just kind of gotten crazy. But it's been interesting to watch, but it goes a little further because we get a lot of phone calls. So we try to help families on a lot of different avenues, everything from maybe just helping them walk through something spiritually, because when you go through something really serious and sometimes you just kind of lose faith. And so you kind of need to understand a little bit about how that all works. So we do a little bit of that. We do a little bit of counseling also along the side, and along the way we've started doing some inspirational speaking engagements. So we're always looking to move that forward a little more. So yeah, we've been really blessed with the whole situation and just glad that we can continue to help. A few weeks ago we had a board meeting, and gets this time of the year we start running a little bit short on money, and I quit worrying about it because it's one of those things that God provides. And we talked about transferring money or doing this, and it's like, okay, we got this, and next day a rather large check shows up in the mail.
Do you know 83% of the stuff you worry about doesn't happen anyway, so just don't worry about it.
I know.
It's like you foreshadowed there, Dave.
Almost.
Looking into the future.
Yep. So, yeah, sometimes we worry way too much, but when you lose control of something, and especially as farmers, we're not used to not having control of things, and that's kind of where everybody's at right now in the farming atmosphere is we don't have control over where the outcome is.
Yeah. So, Mike, you said you got 4 kids.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And they're adult kids?
Yes. The oldest one, him and his wife, live in Denver. He has his PhD in Christian psychology. They both work at Colorado Christian University. It is a university that is probably one of the most conservative universities in the middle of one of the most liberal areas in the country. So they do some amazing work there. Then our youngest son, he and his wife live in Indianapolis, and they both work at Community Hospital, and they both work in the finance department. And then our daughter Janae works at the Naval Base, and she works in contracting there. And then, of course, Travis is at home with us. Travis was going to school to be a PE teacher, a coach, football, baseball, basketball. He was in his last 2 semesters whenever he went into a spin on the ice and had his accident. So, yeah, been very, very fortunate. My kids are very fortunate they got the mother they got because she did a good job raising them.
That's
so
great.
Yeah.
I also have 4 kids. I've got 2 young girls and 2 adult children that you see sitting next to us.
Yeah, I
appreciate you bringing toys for them to play with because that's all they've done since you set that stuff
I've
on.
settled down.
Bring him something, yeah.
Dave is going.
Ciao.
And that's my new shirt that I put out. So yeah.
That.
I was trying to position it in our triangle of triangle.
Farming in the point rows.
Yep.
Farming in the point rows.
Yep.
Sounds like my dad complaining about me having point rows on both sides of the field.
Well, there's a little bit that goes along with that. There's a Bible verse on the back, but aren't we all kind of farming in the point rows? We just don't know when that last pass is.
That's true.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Sometimes the point rows, though, you get a little increase. If you do it right, you get a little increase in population.
Yeah.
Pretty good yield.
Exactly.
Well, what we're going to focus on in today's show, what we invited Mike to be a part of, and so glad that you came all the way over here to next year's Best I-State.
Right.
To have this conversation is a reflection on the question we asked throughout the year. And we were asking our guests how they balance personal life with work life. And we asked that question in a lot of different formats. We used the word juggle a lot because balance might not be the fair response, but we picked 10 or 11 of these responses out to kind of discuss as far as that goes. Dave, Corey, as you went through the interviews this summer, did you feel like that question was a good question? Do you feel like we've had better questions? What'd you think?
It was a good question because I think there's so many different perspectives, but I think this is probably one of the ones that we had the most similar responses.
Yeah. Yep. And I would say that's probably why we're down to 10 or 11 responses, because most of them are similar, very similar. What you think, Dave?
Yeah, I thought that, and because we all have businesses, and we all have side businesses, and we all have families, and so it's something that's important to everybody, but not everybody gives it importance.
Yeah. So let's jump right into the first one. Already a typo on the notes. That'll be fixed before it goes into the show notes. Grant?
I wish you would do this like you did the inspirational ones and record all of them. So
play all the...
So we could watch them so I don't have to read.
That's a good one.
That would be good.
Hey,
It
that's
would
a
be
good
nice.
goal.
More work.
Like, we could have Rachel
What's Rachel doing? Come on now.
read these to us, and then we could react to her.
Have you ever seen the TikToks to where they read them like it's a motivational quote, but it's actually someone commenting on their platform? Like it's
I have.
an inspirational read of something that's
I haven't.
completely not. But anyway, we'll start off first with Grant Weezy. He was part of Farm 640 when we did that episode. He said what helps him juggle is he stays organized, doesn't waste his free time, do what needs to get done, and then tries to spend his evenings with his kids without the TV on. He's got to know your goals and spend time working towards your goals together with your family.
You need to repeat the question we asked everybody.
Yeah, how do you balance or how do you juggle work and personal life?
Fair enough.
Yeah, so, Mike, what did you think about that first one? Because I know you brought your notepad in today, which means you did a little, I was going to say premeditation, but that's not
And that pencil is sharp. And that's how Mike got through farming, with a sharp pencil.
Well, here's one thing you got to remember is that when I raised my kids, this stuff was just starting, the phones and all that. So I kind of got lucky. But yet, our kids were involved in baseball and all those things. Our thing was we start early. Mm-hmm. We go as early as possible. We had livestock at the time, and we would still get up early enough and still beat our neighbors to the field. But we knew we had an X amount of acres to get over, so we would go hard. And then whenever it was time to play, it was time to play. But our kids were also expected to be, when they wasn't in school, they was expected to be there to help. So they had responsibilities. I mean, they raised bucket calves, and they had 4-H livestock and that type of thing. So, but yet we wanted to make sure that we spent time with them, because the thing is, if you don't teach your kids before they reach public schools your principles of what you want, you may have just lost them. And that time is so important with your children at that age that you really got to focus on that. But being able to take them to the field with you is a big deal. So that helps a lot.
Yes. I would very much agree. And public school is good in certain aspects, but like you said, there's a lot of things that are being pushed down people's,
Oh, absolutely.
especially and in certain areas too. I mean, I would say our school system here, for the most part, is pretty dang good. But yeah, you got to get those values in there.
Yeah.
Well, the next one. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, one thing that we learned, and our son has learned now, that the one that's in Denver, is that there's no better place to raise a child than the Midwest. And I'll give you an example. Whenever he was going to go to Denver to finish his education, 2005. And when he goes out there, he's like, I don't have a job. I have an apartment, but neither one of us, he just got married, neither one of us have a job. And we're on I-70, and he pulls off an exit, and he comes back. He took a telephone call. He comes back, and he said, got a job. Oh, really? And so the guy that hired him over the phone. 6 weeks later, he was working in a bank and didn't even have a banking degree. And so he asked the guy, he said, you hired me over the phone, and you didn't even know what I looked like. What's the deal? He said, when I found out that you was a farm kid and you was from the Midwest, he said, I have kids that go through education with a financial degree, but I know whenever I get a farm kid, they know how to work, and they know that when there's work to be done, it's got to be done. And he said, we'll spend time getting these kids prepped for the job. We get to Thursday, and they quit because they're like, oh, we got to work till noon on Saturday? Yeah, and they don't show up on Friday.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, you said this one. You got 4 kids, and you said that their mother is very, very important. The next one that we had, Kale Carlson, Lead Farms in Nebraska there, says your marital partner is key. That goes right to that. It's a choice to juggle both. Make time to get away.
I'd say that's 100%. That's probably the best one on the page. Love you, Allie. Oh, sorry.
Does she listen? Wait.
She listens to every episode. Absolutely. I think marital partner is huge.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife forced us. She was wanting to do a family vacation every year, and I kept saying, "Can't afford it. Can't afford it." And next thing I know, she has have us booked in a condo on the beach in Florida. And that was some of the best money we could have ever spent, because I look back on that now after Travis's accident, and I go, if we hadn't have done that, we wouldn't have had that good time,
Right. Well, and if times are tough, there's ways you can go have fun and get away and not have to spend it, a lot.
Right.
Even though we're in this, you can't even go to McDonald's anymore and get out of there for under $20. Remember the dollar menu?
I do remember the dollar menu.
Gosh, dang. You used to be able to go and have a
I'd get
5-course
two.
meal for $5.
I was going to say, I used to get a cheeseburger and two McChickens, or 2 cheeseburgers and a McChicken and a fry and a drink, and that's your $5 bill, and you had change in your pocket to cover the tax. You got a lot of food for $5.
Yep. Not anymore.
Gone.
She gone.
And it ain't
Dave-
coming back.
Dave probably got a better deal going to the bar for food today than I did walking across the street to Casey's.
I probably did.
Yep. The next one is from our Flea Speaks talk, which did you get to hear that one, Mike, from out at Husker Harvest? Very inspirational guy that shot his ankle.
No, I don't guess I've heard that.
I would suggest listening to it.
Everybody listen to that one.
Very
Yeah.
Wow.
inspirational. Yeah, it was.
And
it
he's
was
got cool
tough.
hats.
He does have cool hats. Yep. Incorporate the two together 100%. Inclusion, but sacrifices still have to be made on both sides sometimes.
yeah.
Kids help on the farm with me, go to track with me, and sometimes travel to speaking engagements with me. Change your mindset that it's not just manual labor that is work.
Oh, well, we talk about that in the future, too.
We do talk about that that I get some flack for being on the podcast. I'm not working hard.
Yeah.
And those types that say, if you're not physically sweating or hurting or anything like that, you're not working. So,
I wonder if typically white-collar jobs are less physical. And I'm going to guess that most white-collar jobs make more money physically than blue-collar jobs. But blue-collar jobs are more physical. I say in my life, the harder physically I've had to work, the less money I've made.
I don't know. When I was in banking, I felt like my customers all made more money than I did. And a majority of the customers that I had were not white-collar
They were not
professionals.
white-collar? Got it.
Whether
you
it
just
was
hadn't built your way up yet.
even the top end of salaries in the banking world. I mean, if you get into a high-level exec CEO for a Wells Fargo or a JP Morgan Chase or something, sure, there's millions to be made. But most community bankers don't have a huge top end to a salary. When I'm working with towing companies and farmers and plumbers, and there's a lot of blue-collar jobs that are very well paying if they run their business the right way. And I'd argue if they run their personal life the right way.
Yep.
Yeah, because I can remember 2012, why we went through drought, and so local convenience store come to us and say, hey, we're looking for somebody to manage it. I said, okay, well, we'll take it on. We took that job on, 2 of us. We split the work, made $25,000 a year, and was averaging 62 hours a week. That was a really bad deal. We was there for 5 years, and they ended up selling it out from underneath of us. But, they probably done us a heck of a favor because, we could have made better money somewhere else than there.
And you were farming while doing that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
62 hours a week.
62 hours a week.
And then go farm.
Well, and see, at the time of Travis's accident, we was farming 3,200 acres. And, whenever we had that, remember when we had that interview way back, and you kept asking me, the questions of, well, what is the things that you had happen? And we kind of dabbled a little bit on that because I had talked about on, We Can Do Better series that I did for a while. And so, there we was farming 3,200 acres, had a kid that was in the hospital basically for almost 3 years. But yet at that time, had a lot of people banging on my landowner's door. So we went from 3,200 down to 1,800. So yeah, that's a whole nother show.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just don't suck, people.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I like what Flea said, that there still has to be sacrifices made on both sides. Like there will come times to where your family's going to be disappointed in you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also going to come times to where your work probably didn't get done
Right.
or had to wait.
But I would argue that's where having the good spouse and partner
Mm-hmm.
would come in, because their understanding of that sacrifice, like that they know that you don't necessarily want to do that, but it's a necessary evil that I have
Gotta
to
go
go
do this.
I have to go do this because
Yeah.
it's going to benefit my family.
Yeah.
Yep. Hollywood, Sean Hollywood Fikema. This was one of those sneaky good interviews.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
I actually want to go fly because I want to go find this and watch it on an airplane.
Yeah.
So we got to book a trip. We got some trips coming up.
Yeah, we do.
But Sean said, have a place to get away. I think my wife would love for that. Of course, he mentioned having a cabin, but have a place to get away. When you're awake, you're working. So make time to get away from the farm. With technologies these days, it's hard because you're connected all the time. Put your device down. It's a struggle, but it's worth it when you do. Bring your family into the farm. Kids will learn life lessons, and they will be invaluable.
Do you think kids of the future will be as hardworking farm kids as they were in the past? The reason I say that is, let's say it gets more technologically advanced, which it's going to, and maybe we press a button and say, go farm that 40 over there, and all our automated stuff works. And now press another button and it goes farms over there, to where it's not wake up and have to get over so many acres today. These are the acres that are ready to go, button.
But what is hard work?
This is that exact same thing I was saying. I was getting flack for not working hard.
But
Right.
if you go to a trade show and you sit behind the mics all day on a trade show, are you not exhausted?
Yep.
I'm ready to go afterwards.
Do you get fired back up?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got two nephews that are integrating themselves into the farm, and it was getting towards the end of that possible time to get your fields ripped, and they ran that tractor around the clock. Now, that's not physically hard work, but they still stuck it out and did it.
Oh, yeah.
Had crap to fix, but that's what you get when you run tired and operators. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I think that's the thing, is that our perception of hard work is changed, because, way back whenever I was younger, why, I didn't feel like I accomplished anything unless at the end of the day I was physically exhausted. And so, but I can tell you that the times that I had to sit in the office all day, I dreaded that day far more, and I felt like that was harder work than going out and actually doing physical labor.
Right.
So, yeah, and it's going to change. I mean, you've seen some of this stuff on TikTok with some of these kids that's been on there pushing and promoting politics. Well, some of those kids, I'll guarantee you, that have made $150,000 probably in the last 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, there's going to be different ways to do this, and farming's coming. Things are going to change. Whether the farmer can afford it or not, that's going to be a whole nother game, and that's where we're headed on that.
I got to speak at that cattleman's event the other day,
Yeah.
and I did a little research and listened to another speaker that's a motivational speaker, and they said that 8 out of 10 jobs of the future don't exist yet.
Oh, yet.
It's not even a job yet. You talked about
I thought you were going to say 8 out of 10 jobs today won't exist in the future.
They don't exist yet. Like, who would know that podcasting host was a job, Corey? And but people don't associate it with that because it wasn't a job yet. And 5 years ago, it wasn't for us. And, you move forward, and I thought, that was my opening line of how we became hosts, is what's 10 more years bring, or what that is. But moving on, old Prince Hefty.
Yeah, I shouldn't say this one because I don't.
So it says schedule. Don't procrastinate. Get your work done. Now, this is a line I saw on Wells Fargo Bank for a long time. Do the things you need to do when you need to do them, so someday you can do the things you want to do when you want to do them.
That's not you, Corey?
I procrastinate. I'm too. Especially the things I.
Do you procrastinate or do you struggle prioritizing?
Probably both.
Because I don't feel like I procrastinate. I feel like I'm always working. It's not like I'm procrastinating doing something. I don't ever sit and not do it.
That's probably a good. Yeah, it's not that I'm just sitting there watching TV. It's just I squirreled onto something else that I need to do too, and need to go, oh yeah, I need to stay on this because that's due next week and this one's due in 2 weeks, type of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Normally this is due in 5 minutes.
Or I'll figure it out when I'm supposed to have it done.
You just like the pressure.
Honestly, sometimes that's what I need.
I'm going to wait till the last day, thrive on the pressure a little bit, see if I can put her together.
No, I don't do well under that deal.
Neither does Tanner.
And I knew Mike well enough. So it wasn't like Corey and Dave just got this outline this afternoon when I put it in front of them after you showed up.
Yeah, Mike.
I got it a week ago.
Mike made notes and enough to take his pencil halfway down. And this is the first time I'm seeing it.
It is down. But yeah, I used to have my stepfather.
You're better under pressure.
He was a weird thinker anyway, but he'd look at my brother and I'd say, I don't know why you guys are always in such a hurry. He said, why do you want to get a good job done so quick? I said, no, it's work. It's got to be done, But, yeah.
There is something to be said, though, for having your back against the wall. There's nowhere to go but forward, and I got to perform, so let's go.
I like pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said. And that, the first one we read today, Grant Weezy, he said, stay organized. So scheduling and stay organized, a lot of similarities there. We also got to talk with Lori Nelson and Kristen Stein from Ever.ag. That was a refreshing female perspective on crop marketing. And not that it's different, but the way I think they delivered perspective was kind of a unique one. But Lori said she asked for help. Again, mentioned her partner. Partner with someone who can help you make decisions when needed. Kristen said that she recognizes that her life is about seasons, especially in farming or agriculture. Problem is, there's no perfect balance, especially. So work to be healthy physically, emotionally, and relationally. There's a lot there.
Relationally.
Yeah. I like the seasons metaphor.
I do too.
Because just like you said, we didn't get all of our round bales made over at the in-laws, and we got a nice window to go do it, and you kind of had to go do it. Because if you didn't get it done the first time, you're very lucky to have gotten a second window. And so that might have meant that some family stuff got left behind. But
that's farming in general.
Gotta make hay when the sun shines.
Yeah, it's harvest time, right? That's what it is. You might, if you get a rain day, you try to go spend that with your family.
Same with hunting.
Yeah, that's
hunting
very
season.
important.
We only get so many days to go hunting. It's not season.
I got to put meat on the table for my
yes,
family.
I have to.
I always looked at it as kind of like farming gumbo.
Yeah.
It's only dry 1 hour out of the week or out of the season, and use at lunch that hour.
No.
So you always looked at everything as, okay, we got to get this done because things could change. So let's get it done.
Yep.
Are you ready to power through your harvest? Meet the Maya corn heads. They're designed for maximum efficiency and unmatched durability in the toughest of conditions.
With precision engineering and advanced features, Maya corn heads ensures every kernel counts, giving you the performance and reliability that you need. Get more from your harvest with equipment built to last.
Reach out to your local Maya corn heads dealer or visit mayacornheads.com to find your perfect match today. Maya corn heads, harvest with confidence.
you've also got a unique perspective on what Lori said about asking for help. Your foundation works a little bit differently than others to where somebody has to get nominated.
Yeah, and that's the blessing of that situation. What we do is we ask that somebody outside of the house that fills out our request form, because we want them to have a stake in the game. We want them to see how this process works, but we want them also to see that to bless somebody, sometimes you got to bless to be blessed, and that's kind of the way that circumstance works. So, we've through that whole process with Travis, why had it not been for Kim and I working together, I don't know how we get through it separately. So, and then having a brother at home that was still taking care of the farming stuff while all that was going on. So, yeah, sometimes you just got to have a team, and then sometimes you got to ask for help, and it's tough sometimes to ask for help. And I just know that it wasn't anything I wanted to do, but yet sometimes people help out, and that's what they want to do. They want to help. So,
have you ever thought about how that would be with your guys' situation with Travis if something would have happened to one of you two, or say you were divorced and that happened, how that would have changed?
Yeah. We had a real hard discussion with the rest of our children Christmas time 3 years ago. And they had been wanting to sit down and talk for a long time. And the discussion was, number one, about the farm and if anybody wanted to come back. But the big discussion was what happens and what's the expectations for us with Travis. And Travis is in the room with us. Daughter-in-laws, everybody's in the room. A lot of tears are shed. But the question becomes, okay, so what do you expect us to do for Travis? And so, well, okay, there's some things already in place financially for him. So, but here's how this works, guys. You have to put yourself in his wheelchair. And the decisions that you make for him, and you got to be sitting in that chair and say, is that the way I'd want them made for me? And is that how I'd want to be treated? And I said, if you can lay your head on the pillow at night and go rest, don't worry about me and Mom coming back to haunt you, because we're not going to be here to make those decisions for you. So it's another point of a teamwork. You know, you other three siblings are going to have to step in and try to be a part of it. So, yeah. But, yeah, we've had that discussion of, what happens if one of us goes and the other one, you know?
Heavy stuff.
Yeah.
This next one I struggle with.
Hold on. I was watching the Polar Express with my family, and I swear to God I've watched that movie a lot. And I didn't realize how freaky that movie is, because there's actually a ghost in it. He climbs up on top of the train, and he's trying to chase after the girl and the conductor, and he runs into the hobo that's riding. But the hobo's a ghost. You mentioned Come Back to Haunt You. Made me think about this.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, there's a lot of times in that movie that I was watching it with my girls, and I was like, I'm almost scared. How is this a children's movie? I feel like you guys haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it for a while. I've seen it. We watched Home Alone last night. That's Christmas.
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
There's a lot of bad words and things in that I'm like, how is this a children's movie?
Sorry, squirrel moment, Dave. Go ahead.
Squirrel moment. I'm still trying to figure out. All right, fair enough. I was saying I struggle with the next one. Josh Lineville, fertilizer marketing breakdown that we did. It says make family priority. You have to shut your phone down, computer down, work that. That's a hard and fast rule. Mm-hmm. So you have to shut her down. That's a hard and fast rule. That's great. But like Corey said, you got to make hay when the sun shines too. And when it's harvest time, it's go time. Well, some people have their harvest on their phone or their harvest on, so I like the fact that they're making priority. So make family priority. I like that statement. But sometimes some people can't. They have to go to work. I think about the people that have to work on Christmas. I don't have the money not to work on Christmas. I have to go to the gas station and need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Makes you appreciate those people, though.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to a restaurant and going through COVID, and those that are working, that, you know, you really appreciate what they're doing, because they probably wouldn't have had to been there otherwise.
Some of us are fortunate to make that statement, like, you should shut that down. You need to take that out of your life. But I can't afford it.
Right. He's got a job with a company.
Yeah.
You own a marketing business or real estate business. If someone texts you on a Sunday afternoon, you realize if you don't, the next person is, and you're a small company compared to a lot.
Correct.
You know, like that could be a huge swing in the family finances if they want to sell a $5 million farm.
Correct.
And in your situation too, a lot of times the people that might call you, they're going to call on their downtime.
Oh, always.
Which may line up with your downtime.
Be a realtor, they said. You can work any hours you want. Yeah, all of them.
But I think that just
all of them.
I think you could take that as like, when you do get time, just make sure you're extremely intentional with it, right?
Yep.
It might be 3 p.m. when everyone else is working. It might be at 8 a.m. in the morning when you're, taking kids to school or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be in the evening. It doesn't have to be on a. Well, who's to say that? Because that's the status quo and the norm, right?
You have your phone set up to where every Sunday night mine goes off and tells me how many hours I spent on my phone.
Yeah,
on the week.
Yeah, I don't do that.
That's an eye opener.
It used to be, if that was 2020 and that was scrolling TikTok, that's a bad. It's a bad use of your cell phone time.
Mm-hmm.
My hours on there now are mostly work. I am not really consuming that much.
Right. Two sides of that balance sheet. You got a negative balance and a positive balance.
Yeah, it's like we talk about that coming up.
We do.
having things that you do in your life that add to the positive side versus things that you do in your life that take away from where you're headed down your track. I'll tell you, I wear an Apple Watch most of the time. And the other day, Corey let me feel rich for a while and wore his Rolex.
Fake Rolex.
Oh, that's right, fake Rolex. But it was weird not getting a buzz on my wrist. I got, your phone still went off, but the way my phone is set up is it notifies my watch. So even that was kind of like one of the things that I can do at home is I can take my watch off. Maybe I don't shut my phone off, but I don't check it as frequently.
And his wife was extremely, she was baffled. She noticed it before anybody else. She's like, what are you wearing? You're not looking at your wrist all the time. And I noticed the other day when I was with Tanner, kept looking. I'm like, are you getting text message or what? He said, no, it's emails. You get every email on your phone? No, that is unhealthy.
We have a business to run. What if Mike wanted to sponsor the podcast?
My argument for that is if you send an email, you expect an email response. So that is someone checking an email once, maybe twice, or the next day. If you want an answer now, you call or you text. That is my response to that.
Uh-oh, sounds like roast the host.
Or
it's not a roast.
Or you call Dave and you get a text back.
Yeah, I'm busy right
that
now.
says he's busy.
Yeah. Can I call you later?
Well, that's to avoid
Oh, yeah, no. There's nothing wrong with that.
voicemail, because I'm always busy. So I just want to make sure that I responded.
Yeah.
Because so many people, the funny thing is they say that the number one thing is communication. So I want to just make sure I over-communicate that, hey, I got your message. I'm just busy.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
I can say that, I called you yesterday, but you called me. And I mean, it's just like Tony. I'll call Tony, but I'll guarantee you Tony will call me back. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, Ryan Peter, no, he'll never call you back. I don't know what happens there, but he loses it completely.
I will say you need to respond with how you're responded or
Correct.
or
Same way, same manner.
communicated with. I absolutely hate that I called, or no, I texted. I texted for a reason, like I'm busy, I'm in the hog barns, I can't really talk right now, I've thought of something, and I immediately get a call. I'm like, I did this for a reason, man. Or an email for an email, or unless they're requesting, here's an email, which give me a call at your earliest convenience, whatever. But yeah, it's frustrating.
I like the next one from River Class, our very first TV show host as a guest. Is that accurate?
Probably.
No, what about Toyne?
What about
Time?
Sharky? What about Sharky? You ever
Toyne?
have him?
Oh, yeah. I guess we did have Rob, yeah. Forgot
Sharky.
about him.
I don't think he had a TV show when we had him on.
That's true. We had him before he got big.
Yeah.
That's how we have most of
made
our guests.
Rob.
We made Rob. Clip that, would you?
William, don't use that clip.
William.
Every day starts off great, and this is where I think we got this room covered, is the handsome category of this. No matter how rich, handsome, or big-time operator, value each person by how they handle themselves when things go wrong. Because we know things will go wrong. Happens all the time. That was in the Roast the Host show, was how I handle things going wrong, Mike.
You don't want to be around me when things go wrong.
I could see that. Get Mike all fired up. Yeah.
I've threw a few wrenches in my time. That's not been a problem.
What are you, 6'5"?
6'4".
6'4"?
Well, I bet you that wrench was moving.
I had a guy that the last year we was farming that I told him what I wanted done with my combine, and he said, "No, that's not the way I'm going to do it." And I said, "No, I'm writing the check." And so he argued with me. So I got his attention whenever I threw one of his wrenches up through the wall.
That's tough. I do
Hiding
that.
the weapons.
I did it, I really don't regret it.
I get mad and I throw stuff when I get hurt. So like if I burnt myself with a welder the other day on my wedding ring, and it just burnt, and it hurts so much I get mad and I throw stuff or whatever I'm doing. But now that my kids are watching, I'm like, I do not want them to get this habit. And so it's really hard because I'm just pissed and I want to throw something and I don't want them to pick up that habit.
Especially when
how
you're
did
making
you?
something that no one has.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, it looks like it. To store your 33 hitch pins.
You had 33 inches.
Yeah.
It's
I've seen
awesome.
that.
How did you weld your ring?
So we're in ring, of course it's metal, right? And I am welding, but what I'm welding is galvanized. So if you ever weld galvanized,
I've
it
never done
spits
that.
and pops
Okay.
a lot. When it
got
heats
a
up,
nasty
the
gas.
it's got a nasty gas, and the galvanizing pops off, so it tends to spit and pop a little bit more. You got to need to clean the end of your dongle a little bit. So it popped right on my ring, and my ring is just heating up, and I'm like, what is going on? You ever started your shirt on fire while you're welding? Yeah. So same thing. You're like, something's hot. You know, you get your mask on. You're still looking at the welding. I'm like, what the hell? My pants are getting, oh crap. And then all of a sudden your pants are on fire because something popped out. Well, if you've ever had that happen, same with the ring. I didn't see it pop, but I felt it after a while. But by then it had already burnt my finger really bad.
What happened to your other finger?
That was
From
grinding.
throwing the wrench.
That was a grinding wheel on the same project. I was trying to hold a very little piece, and
Is that the
You
second?
need tiny pliers to hold tiny pieces.
yeah, that would have worked.
Yeah.
Is that the second one of those that you've built? That hitch holder?
No.
So the first one you put up wasn't yours?
No, I saw that on a swap page type deal, and I'm like, I'm building that. I'm like, I got enough scrap around, I can make that. Then I went to an auction, and there was these 4 things. I'm like, I can make that work. So as I'm selling it, I'm thinking, I'm gonna buy that and make it work. And
Yep.
I bought some casters, and
Yep.
yeah,
I can relate because my ring got welded to the table once,
yeah.
and it heats up fast, and
And
you can't get
sometimes,
it off.
sometimes it's just a little piece. This was a big old chunk of
Yeah.
galvanized, but it was because it was galvanized.
Landed
it was
perfectly,
It was
didn't it?
popping just a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And I have gloves, and here's the crap of it. I wore gloves the entire time of this deal while I was welding it, had good stuff on, and I was like, one more thing. Let me just tack that one little thing at the end. So I was like really done with the project, but I'm just like, all right, gloves are off. Everything's put away, and I just like this. It was the last weld that I had.
After that, it was for sure your last weld.
That's how it happens.
Yeah. I'm done. The project's
Or
over.
you get a piece of metal in your eye because you
Where'd
just
you-
took your safety glasses off.
How'd you end up with 31 hitch pins?
Dude, you lose them,
Hay
and you
rack.
buy them. Hay rack stuff. If you go to auctions, every old guy had them, but by the time you never found them because they're lost. By the time I clean up their shop, everybody's got 31 hitch pins.
That's probably right.
You just don't know where they're at. Well, by the time I clean up your shop, I get the opportunity to buy stuff like that. And you buy a box, you buy one, you gotta buy them all.
right.
So
Yeah. Next one.
Hold on, Ben.
Oh,
You move on to that.
Oh boy, here we go.
If you look down in there, it says "embrace the
the
suck."
suck.
Oh yeah,
All
Tanner
right.
didn't read it all. That's an option. You don't have to read it all.
So the thing about that is, and I think that's a lot of the problems that we have. For me, I'm extremely competitive, and I hate to lose. And I had to look at Travis's situation that way. I had to say, okay, we're going to tackle this thing. You can't, it's not going to do no good to sit here and waller in it. We've got to approach this thing on how do we fix it. And I think that becomes a lot of the problems that you see in farmer mentality, not only but with depression and the kind of things with farmer suicides and those type of things that really bother me because I hate it for a lot of reasons, because in the suicide situation is that it's the people that's left behind that carry the guilt and go through the real struggles of that. Yes, that person has left, but for me, I'm like, no, we're not taking the easy way out on this thing. We're gonna jump on this thing and we're gonna beat it down. And that's what I think a lot of people give up that chance to get after it. Let's fix it. If we can't fix it, let's at least make it better.
Flea speaks. You need to go listen.
You do need to listen to that.
Yep. No, that's the ticket there. What was the next one, Corey?
From Chad Tedinger from 10 Corp. With agriculture, there's no time clock to punch. You pick morning or evening to be with your family or go to work, especially with technology today. Oh, boy. See, I got to read the whole thing here.
Wow, did you just old man that?
You can you can do business anywhere at any time, which we've already talked about, right? Mm-hmm. And also the drawback is you can do business anywhere at any time. Mm-hmm. So you got to find a time to actually just. I think this is the theme, right? We got to figure out how to be more attentive when we're with our family and spend more time with our family.
I would agree.
And that's not necessarily at 5 o'clock.
This is why people look at phones when they're on the toilet. They take their own personal time because nobody will bug them on the toilet.
Right.
Yeah,
I
You've
saw a
seen
meme the other
pictures
day
of
that
the
wife
wives helping them up off the toilet because they've been on their
My legs.
4
My
hours.
legs. I can't feel my legs.
I saw a meme the other day. When the wife finally, you're finally home and she tells you to come help her with the house, and he goes, I gotta take a shit. Yeah, that's funny.
It is. That's all. Some lady made a post too. She said, "Does anybody else's husband go sit on the toilet with the lid closed?"
Need a private place.
We used to have a guy that we did some custom work for, and he had this thing about we'd do some planting for him, and he had this thing about it. He did not want us there early in the morning, and they had some river bottom stuff that was way off, and we was big about starting at 4:00 in the morning, so we would go. And he called me one morning. He said, "What you up to?" And I said, "I'm just sitting here at home, drinking a cup of coffee." He said, "You liar." He said, "I'm sitting on the toilet, looking out my window with a pair of binoculars." And he said, "I see you down there in that field running back and forth." I said, "You can shut that thing off at any time." So, yeah.
Why? What was that? Why he didn't want you to start early?
He said that the dew built up and you wasn't the right depth. And I'd always tell him, "Just set it a notch deeper. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to run."
Woof. That's a tough one.
So 4 a.m, did you run late too? You just trying to get the hours, or did you
Just
cut off?
trying to get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyler Froberg was the next one. That was a fun on-site recording.
yeah.
That was good. He said a couple of different things that loosely tie to the question, but ultimately he said, put yourself in a position to fail catastrophically. Fail so that it hurts your pride, then you will learn really, really fast. Take down your arrogance and pride and listen to other people. When you take down your pride, then you realize that no one knows it all. So that's interesting when you put it in perspective of time with family, that I'm not always right. I mean, I'm right a lot, but I'm not always right.
Well, okay,
Yeah,
so have you
put your phone
learned
down.
more from your mistakes or from your successes?
Mistakes, by far, I would say that's. Yeah, or the fear of the mistakes, or the fear of failing.
Do you have any big mistakes this fall?
I didn't weld my finger.
You did smash your finger, though.
I did smash my finger. That was spring.
You lost your thumbnail.
I lost my fingernail.
Fingernail, yeah.
Still, it's kind of back now. I don't think we had many major. It's a pretty smooth fall, really.
Yeah.
Just not marketing, last year for this fall. That'd be a mistake.
That was a mistake that was shared by a lot of people.
Yeah.
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 And I don't think you can dwell on that. That's past, right? Like, can't dwell on that. So
Can't fix it.
I think that failing catastrophically kind of goes with the foreshadowing of the show of setting your goals that scare you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Or, I mean, if you're looking at the past, that's why the rearview mirror is smaller than the windshield.
Where'd you hear that?
I've heard that
Somebody
before.
said that once.
I've heard that
Luke
before.
Combs.
Yep.
Our true fans are the only ones that are going to get that joke.
Yep.
That's a really good, really good. This is a fun series of shows that we put together.
Yeah.
I encourage our listeners to listen to the next couple of shows. All right, last one on the page. Again, loosely ties to that question as far as it goes, from Clayton. He's the founder of Atlas Media. First of all, he said his favorite food was a hamburger.
Out of
Came
Montana.
from Montana. That was
Yeah.
the question we had before this for
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys was, where's your favorite food
That was Dave and Mai's
and
question.
how do you get it?
We just started. That was awesome.
He said, learn by going head first. Never put yourself above a task. If a CEO scrubs the toilet, they're probably a healthy work culture. Same thing with family. As you look at juggling, farm kids don't get to do what they want. They do it to survive. Embrace the uncomfortability. I took this as a way that if you are struggling to find more time with your family, take them with you. It might be uncomfortable, but it'll be something your family's not going to forget.
We're going to start doing that on podcast trips?
No.
No.
No, but your daughters have been involved in some of your commercials. Those
Yes.
have been great.
Yes, and thanks to the tax guy during his episode says I can write that off.
There you go.
I do think our kids will be in here at some point. It'd be kind of fun because we were watching an Iowa State game in here, and I had my neighbor's kids in here too, and they sat the whole game in here. And they had a YouTube show on, and they'd watch a 5-minute clip of that, and then they'd all act like they were podcasting.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, it's
Yeah.
and the whole game they did that. Besides spilling a pop and whatever.
Yeah, the floor was sticky and none of the dials were in the right spot.
And unplugging and plugging stuff. Yeah, Tanner wasn't happy when he came back, but
I would have been fine if you just would have told me, so I got here 15 minutes earlier.
Corey.
yeah. Whoops.
I was actually on the phone with him, and I'm like, why is the soundboard not turning on?
Oh, yeah. About that.
It's always good to take your kids with you, as long as it's a safe environment. But my kids, it's one of those things where, we talked about a while ago. Throwing wrenches and cussing, that stuff. My kids very rarely ever heard me say a cuss word, and they never seen me take a drink until the last one turned 21. Then we all sat down and had a drink.
Huh.
Because I just didn't want them. I didn't want them to feel like that it was something that they could do and not get in trouble for it, and not necessarily because I didn't never want them to drink. I just didn't want them to get into the trouble at an early age, and then it earmarks them and follows them around for the rest of their life.
I've thought about this a lot because my dad has never drank since I've been born, ever. And so I never saw him, and I've never heard him swear, ever. And so we go to tailgate, but Busch Light was a sponsor with us, and with our kids, they see that stuff, especially since we're social. They see it even on watching stuff. Where's the line? But I wonder if it's not. Well, this is society drinks. This is what it is. So we've tried to be like, okay, this is drinking. See that person passed out over there? That's too much. See that person over there? That's okay, healthy, etc. But within reason. Everything in moderation.
Well, with today's, everybody's got a phone that has a camera on it. That's always my fear. And it wasn't that bad whenever my kids would run around, unless you had one of those little Kodak deals. You remember those that you rolled and took a picture and you took it in and it was disposable? You had to take it into the local
I still
CVS.
think that would have been one of the most fun jobs, to develop photos.
That would have been pretty wild.
I don't know about
at Walgreens or
been interesting.
Walmart.
I don't know about that. So.
Oh my gosh.
The George Costanza thing on the couch.
Yeah.
I worry though. I'm not encouraging young drinking or things like that, but some of the best things I learned was being a little mischievous before I should have in high school, and having a flip phone that couldn't be tracked and all that.
Well, you talking about this because we were tracking our kid's car now that he's
now,
driving.
And
he's
now Dave's he knows whether his kid braked too hard or used his cell phone while he drove. Now, granted, that's a bigger deal, but I almost feel like, these kids they're growing up totally different. And I'm not going to say it's wrong because we don't know what the result is going to be, but man, there was some cool times and great lessons that I had growing up with my friends, and we never took it over the edge and got in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think,
but we knew how far to push. But being able to run around with your buddies and
you learn where your limit is. That's what part of it is.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about something you said, and so when I was welding the other day making my cart, I actually, now that my kid's getting old enough, he's in shop class, I have him come, and I read something, probably was a TikTok meme or something, that said it's okay to waste time. It's okay to waste time with your kids. And I went, what? And I'm a guy that likes to go, and I don't like things get in my way. And so my kids stay out of the way because they know don't get in the way. And I was like, he's like, if it takes twice as long, that's fine. And I knew having him help would take at least twice as long. And we did it. And it took me all damn day is what it took. But he actually helped me weld 2 of the projects that we did. But it was some meme or something. Yeah, yep, it's going to take twice as long. That's okay.
Yeah.
But until I read that, I'm not that guy. My kids actually don't come out because they think they're going to get in the way and get in trouble. So I'm trying to make sure that twice as long is okay.
There's nothing wrong with turning a kid loose. It was a little easier to turn a kid loose back when I started with a 40-20 that had a 13-foot disc behind it, and that would fit between a light pole. And now to turn a kid loose with a 45-foot field cultivator, it's kind of different, a lot more money, but we learned a lot on a lot of those passes back and forth. And whenever my boys learned, why we had to set aside, and so turning them loose with a tractor and a bush hog mower was harmless, but that's where they learned. And and I think that's kind of what helped our kids is the fact that I have had so many kids come back to me that work for us and said, "Thank you for allowing us to help you," because what it did was it taught us what we knew we didn't want to do for the rest of our life. It gave them something else rather than staying at home playing Nintendo or an Atari at that time, So, but it got them out, and they had to do some physical work, and they understood, hey, maybe I want to go to school instead of do this. So, yeah, good stuff.
It's crazy. I would almost rather my kids play some video games rather than watch some of the crap they do on they're trying to watch on YouTube.
Don't just consume.
Yeah.
Make a decision to contribute
Yeah.
or learn a tactic or something along those lines. I mean, the way that I've forced myself to try and spend more time with my kids is I decide to coach, because I know if I didn't decide to coach, it's a lot easier for me to say that my wife can take them to practice or that somebody else, they can carpool somebody else to get there. But if I'm required to be there because I'm now expected to be leading a practice, it's extremely frustrating because some people's kids aren't raised the way my people's kids are. Yeah. And that can be something that maybe gets in the way of enjoying that time with my children because I'm dealing with other people's children. But I haven't missed a practice, try not to miss games. It's something that's helped me. And I understand not everybody can go coach.
Right.
But golf's one thing that Mike and I have talked about together is it's fun to watch my girls be interested in it. And I'm not going to lie, half, at least maybe 30% of the reason we've got the simulator in the studio is because that's something I can do with them.
Yeah.
They can come over here, and there's not a lot that they can do, but we can hit some balls into the screen.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, if those kids are enjoying it, if you're forcing your kid to do something, they're not going to be very good at it. But if they want to do it, I really enjoyed coaching other kids. I coached a Little League group 2 years before my kids even got there. And I had a lady come to me and she said, why? Why are you coaching and your kids aren't even playing? And I said, well, whenever I grew up, the older guys did not have kids involved in it. And they were the best coaches. And I said, I wanted to be able to coach somebody else's kids and learn how to handle them before I put too much pressure on. And that would be a thing that I had trouble with was you got to be better because you're my son than the other kids. Well, that's kind of the wrong thing to do. Sometimes you got to let them make mistakes, just like the other stuff we talked about. You got to let them make mistakes before, they're going to learn. So, yeah. One thing I wanted to say was Tyler Froberg.
Yeah.
I love that guy's energy.
Oh, yeah.
He's just fun to be around and watch him.
Wish I could smile like every second like he does.
Yeah, yeah. Him and the other guy on TikTok that has the granny.
Oh, Gatlin.
Yeah.
Gatlin did, yeah.
They are so good. I mean, that's
They
just
are
good
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
And Granny, she plays right to the hilt.
And they are both absolutely great humans.
Yeah.
Like we've had the privilege of
Meeting both.
meeting them outside of their personality, and they're both really great.
And Gate Bart.
Oh, Gate Bart.
I've not met Gate.
No, but we're just saying they're all good.
Bart.
Bart.
Yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's always, to get with your kids and experience that time because sometimes, the only time you're really spending time with them is working.
Here you go, Mike. Here's a question for you. We're talking about family work balance. And so I would like my kids to do more agriculture. So I bought a fancier tractor with new GPS and all the jazz in it, more than I need, because I thought my kids really like electronics. They're gonna get in there and they're gonna like it. My wife is a show cattle person, so she buys them all cows so that she goes out there. I don't think either of our kids like agriculture. How's the work-life balance work if you like a certain thing and the rest of the family doesn't?
You try to find what they like to do too, though, especially when it comes to your kids. You got to find that balance for them, and they may fall into it before it's over with. They go in stages. I mean, we've seen it all. Kids will start as a young child, like dinosaurs, and then the next thing they do, they're into fire trucks, and then so it's all in stages of growth through their life. So you just try to run with whatever they want to do and try to get involved in it. Sometimes it's not fun for you because it's not what you're engaged in, but it's what they're engaged in today. So,
And if they
yeah.
don't end up doing it, they're still going to get a little experience with what you liked, and that's going to shape them and teach them things, and
Yeah, because I don't think our kids will end up there in ag, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
They might.
you don't know that.
I thought my kids would,
You did.
and none didn't.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And,
Yeah,
and that was, going to college. They got to experience different things by going to college that they wouldn't have experienced otherwise.
And ag's a great life and a great way to raise a family, but there's a lot of other great lives and great ways to raise families outside of ag too.
Yeah.
So,
Correct.
yep.
Well, what are your kids interested in now? Do they want to go to Vegas? Because I take them to Vegas if they want to go.
Well,
You're on it, Dave.
and I'm telling you what, you need to take Travis with you because you've not had entertainment until you've took Travis to the casino.
Oh, okay.
Because that kid knows how to play blackjack.
All right.
It's not all the places we'd be going in Vegas. For Travis.
Yeah. But he's dangerous there
I
also.
bet he'd be dangerous.
Yeah, he is. Yep, he's extremely dangerous. So, I mean, we was in St. Louis once, and that kid, he won every hand in that shoe but one. And the only one he got beat on was the blackjack had a 21, and he had a 20. And when he got done, I said, how about, this is our first deal. How about you call Mom and have her come back get you? No, I want to play a couple more. Next thing I know, the first two hands he gets on the next shoe, he loses both of them. Next thing I know, there's chips flying. I'm done. I'm done. I'm out of here.
He
Give me
got
my
it
money.
figured out. Yep.
Attaboy.
Well, Mike, I know I didn't prep you for this, but I know you've got a lot of perspective. What do you think our next question should be?
Ooh.
And if you don't got it today, you can always send it to us as you think about it. But it's one of those things. 5 years into this, we've asked a lot of questions. We've asked questions about what you would go back and change. What was one of the biggest lessons you've ever learned? What's the best advice you've ever been
Most
given?
successful people do.
What do you think most successful people do? Where's the best place to get the favorite food that you eat?
I
Right?
think
That's deep.
it seems like the one thing that keeps reoccurring is how people handle stress. And I think that if we can get people to think outside the box a little bit on maybe I handle stress a little bit differently based on what David had to say, maybe what Corey had to say. And then it becomes a twofold thing where you're also helping somebody at the same time with that question. So I just think that's important. What our son does, with his degree, it's kind of interesting to listen to him because he does a lot of counseling. He is actually over the Counseling Association for the state of Colorado. He gets his smarts from his mother, but he's very, very good. Matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, he sent me a picture, him and a guy and this guy's wife, and I thought, well, that guy looks familiar. And then I figured out who it was, and it was Mike Pence.
Oh, huh.
And he
met
said
him
at
once.
the end of that, because we've all heard how that all come down, with being able to declare the vote. But he said, whenever I got done and I listened to him speak about the Constitution, what his commitment was to that, and then his faith, he said, wow. He said, I was thoroughly impressed, and he said the guy really is getting a bad hack on that deal. He said he's truly a good man. So,
Tanner, you got your question right there. So,
Yeah.
stress. How do you handle stress? I got one for you. You made me just think for a second. All of these were very
This
similar.
is what it took. It took.
These were all similar answers, right?
Yeah.
So I want one where we get all different answers.
Okay.
So the all different answers is, what do you think the future is? People are going to answer that way differently. What do you think the future of, I don't know, we need to put a bow on it, or bookends. What does the future of ag
yeah.
look like in 10 years? So
Well-
maybe we need to put a date on it too.
And that, okay, so take a look at, 2 months ago? What did everybody think the future looked like then compared to today?
Oh, yeah.
And some people are looking at it that it's worse. Some people are looking at it like, oh, gosh, we're better. But, farming can go in waves so hard, so fast that, you can't keep up with it.
Yeah. But Corey's answer would be different than mine, be different than yours.
Absolutely.
So I bet you we get a whole list of
That
different
could be good.
different answers on that one.
Yeah.
Well, we need more than one question next year, so that's a good start to get in there. Listeners, if you think there's a good question that you've got, we'd appreciate you sending it this way. Please text them directly to Corey's personal cell phone number. That is
515-207-9640.
He's feeding you full of crap. You can't believe anything Corey says. But that text will still work. We do thank you as listeners. Dave and Corey, appreciate your perspective. Mike, this was a pleasure again. I appreciate you coming on. Probably third time or fourth? So at least third.
At least third.
Yeah?
Four.
Okay.
Because we were supposed to come up here 2 years ago, and then we did one last year on Zoom.
Yeah.
And remember the snow that come in?
Oh, yeah.
But it's always an honor for me to be here. I always enjoy you guys' company. If you'll remember, I told you 2 years ago, you guys have bigger things on this podcast in front of you than where you was at today. And here you are.
Mr.
You guys
Fortune
have come a long
Teller.
way.
Absolutely.
So where we're going to be in 2 years.
Where we're going to be in.
Smaller things.
There's your question. Where's the podcast going to be in
Jail.
5 years is the question for everybody.
You got it, guys. You got it. But I appreciate it. It's an honor for me to be here, so I appreciate it. I always want to do it in person if I possibly can.
Yeah, it's always way better in person.
We appreciate you too, Mike. Listeners, we appreciate you. So until next time, have a good one.